Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Smith, Director of Communication at Alberta Golf, and I'm here with our Executive Director, Phil Berube. And Phil, we've been so busy over the winter on a lot of different projects, but the one we want to talk about today is our Safe Sport initiative, making sure that anyone who comes to any of our events feels welcome and feels safe. We have a Safe Sport Task Force, and we formed it back in the fall. Can you fill us in on just all the work that it's done leading up to getting ready for the season?
Thanks, Kevin, and compliments to our Safe Sport Committee, our board of directors. We've worked with you, and we put together an incredible video that I think everyone here is going to be interested in watching. We want everyone to have fun. I mean, as far as Safe Sport goes, the idea is that we just want to create a welcoming, safe environment for every competitor, and that's one of the things Alberta Golf can do, is ensure that every player who participates in any of our events enjoys their time on the golf course. So our Safe Sport Task Force has put this together along with some influencers, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, you mentioned the video, and we want to show this to everyone now. And please take the 10 minutes to watch this. We have influencers that are high achievers in our province talking about safe sport. This is something that's going to be mandatory for our junior championship competitors to watch. The under 19, 17, 15, 13. Please grab your parents, spend the time and watch this video. But we encourage anyone who plays in our championships or the McLennan Ross Alberta Junior Tour to watch this video and educate yourself on safe sport.
Alberta Golf is aligned with Golf Canada and Respect Group to create a safe sport environment where our competitors can reach their full potential. It's our priority to create a welcoming environment, free of bullying, abuse, harassment, and discrimination known as bad behaviors. Listen to these influencers who have reached the highest level of their sport, and please follow their guidance on maltreatment and how to act on and off the golf course.
Hi everybody, Kevin Blue here, Chief Sport Officer at Golf Canada. Welcome to another exciting upcoming season of competition. Good luck to all players and welcome parents. Golf Canada is fully supportive and aligned with Alberta Golf in creating an ideal, optimal, safe, welcoming environment for all competitors this year. Best of luck to everyone and play well.
How important is it for parents watching this to know that my kid's going to be safe when they go and play in an Alberta Golf event this summer?
Oh boy, so important. I think in today's world especially, it seems like with the COVID and people being pent up and all the energy that, in a sense, it's kind of a little bit wasted with a little bit of anger and all this stuff. And so I think it's really important that people know that when they leave their house that it's going to be a really safe environment. I can't stress that enough.
Bullying, stress, and harassment can definitely affect one's ability to reach their full potential. All those things can really wreak havoc on one's mental health, and stress can really affect you both mentally and physically as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important for both the athletes and parents to know that the environment that their child or that the athlete is going into is one that is well thought through, that has strong policies in place, and is a place where that child can excel and reach their full potential in a really holistic, nurturing environment. A positive space is something that I think most parents are looking for their kids when they are thinking about sport.
Golf is already hard enough. People always say that the most important part of the golf game is from ear to ear. And so again, when you already have enough mental stresses that come along with the game of golf, the last thing you need is the additional pressures and stresses of that feeling of being bullied or harassed, or again, not feeling safe in your environment. So if we can take that away, we can have kids be on the course and again focus on their game, focus on what their next shot, being able to visualize and focus that perfect tee shot instead of worrying about what someone's going to say to them or what it's going to be like after the round when they have to run into these people.
When I was a kid in 11th grade, I had a bully, and it was in high school, and it was someone who went out of their way to make my life bad. They went out of their way to make me feel like my choice of sport, being a male in gymnastics, was something that I shouldn't be proud of. And it really did weigh heavily on me. And I can distinctly remember a moment when I was on the horizontal bar, swinging around, thinking about that person. And it was such a distraction, and it really did, it took away from my experience in the gym, And it also took away, I think, a bit from my potential during that time. I could have been a bit better, but there was always this soundtrack in the back of my mind of the things that he said to me. And so I can speak to that I know when I was able to figure out that situation and deal with it, I was able to focus more on the sport. And that's when my trajectory just shot up. And a year later, I was actually on the Olympic team.
Because there's all different kinds of abuse. There's sexual, emotional, physical, spiritual. There's all kinds of abuses. And ultimately, that abuse is trauma, right? And that trauma changes us, right? Until we get into a place of recovery, healing, all that stuff. And so behavior. If you see a significant behavioral change in your child, you know that something significantly traumatic has happened in their life. If they go from being an A student to can't get out of bed, don't want to go to school, these kind of things are, markers for, something's wrong or something's happened. And, and it takes a lot of courage to have these conversations. It takes tremendous amount of courage.
With the right environment and encouragement, for sure anyone can be a high achiever. I think that everyone has their own success story, and you don't need to have a certain background in order to be successful. I think as long as you are hardworking and willing to put in the time and effort that it takes to reach a high level, that's all you really need, and also have passion for whatever you're doing.
Massive change that has now happened, that it's this culture now that children, they have a voice, that they can speak to an adult, they can share this, and it's not okay. And if they do share their concerns, something's going to happen.
I think in particular, young people today feel an ability to reach out sooner than maybe when, certainly my age, but I think that they understand mental health a little bit better. There's more discussions about it, so they understand that, hey, I can go to somebody and I can feel safe and I can feel protected, that, yeah, I'm just a little bit off. I'm not sure what it is, but this is what I'm feeling. And they can go to somebody and share those thoughts, because I can tell you from firsthand, it's very freeing, and it's really helpful if you can share it with somebody, because you shouldn't do it alone. It's impossible, and the pain is too deep.
Yeah, I think the conversations around safe sport, around harassment, abuse, bullying, these conversations have opened up, and we're having them now. But even in the late 90s, when I was starting on my path of being a high performance level athlete, you didn't talk about it. You didn't tell people that these things were happening to you. You hid them, because they were embarrassing, and it meant that there was something wrong with you. And it was scary to think about bringing it to the attention of your coach or your parent or your teachers, because you didn't want that person to find out and make your life even more horrible. But I think now we've really broken down those barriers, and we've opened up the lines of communication, and we're having those conversations.
And especially in today's day and age, social media is such a powerful tool, and you can really have a big impact on someone else's day without even realizing it. And I think that it's also important to realize that social media isn't always what you see. So even those people with really positive looking feeds, and maybe you're looking at it and feeling a little bit jealous, I think that social media is always a snapshot of someone's life, and to be really aware of that.
Or who are you including? Who are you excluding? And if you're talking about someone, would you say those same things in front of them? If that's the best advice I can give. If you're not going to say those things to that person's face, don't be talking about it on social media.
Just be careful. Use it for good. Use it for good. Use it for, posting stuff about yourself, and don't pay any attention to the comments.
The one thing I do know about social media is that it can be a vehicle for good things, and it can also be a vehicle for bad things. And you can go into a spiral, you can go down the rabbit hole, and you can really compare yourself to others and start feeling like you aren't comparable to the people around you. That's pretty easy to tell yourself that story. But I think with social media, the trick is to really find the positive things, to try to build other people up. If you see someone doing something amazing, put a comment on there that builds them up.
You know, I'm a hockey mom, so we've as a hockey family, we've done the Respect in Sport series through that. And I know there was a lot of eye rolls and a lot of parents that thought, oh gosh, you know, another program, or is this going to be beneficial? But when my husband and I went through that program, there's a lot of really key messages that I think as adults we sometimes take for granted. And that when you watch that, it just gives you that reminder to say, you know what, we have to be positive, we have to be supportive, and that sometimes you can get, as parents, we can get the emotions, let the emotions get the best of us. You know, I see it in hockey arenas all the time, and then you also see it on the golf course. And so we have to keep that in check and remember they're kids, and that the number one goal is that they're having fun, they're active outdoors, and you know, we're here to develop humans, little humans that are going to grow up into great people.
One of the big main contributing factors to my success was the fact that my parents let me be in the driver's seat. My parents never told me that I was going to be an Olympian. I told them, and they were like, okay. When I won the Olympic gold medal, my dad said to me, he gave me a big hug and he's like, oh, I'll never listen to the Canadian anthem the same way again. And then he whispered in my ear, and I worked a lot of bingos for that gold medal. You know, so my parents made this huge dedication of their lives to help me pursue my dream and my goal, but I was always in the driver's seat. I had that steering wheel in my hands. I was looking through the windshield. I was in charge of the direction. And they were in the back seat, they were in the passenger seat, they were helping do all the things that you do, whether it's working the bingos, paying the bills, etc. I equated to changing the oil and putting the windows down when it got too hot. But they were the supporters. And the best athletes are always the ones that reach the highest level of success are the ones that are driven from within and that have the support network around them to help build them up. You never will see an athlete reach the highest of levels if they don't want it. So let them be in charge.
I think we're all too hard on ourselves anyway. So why would you add to that? If you see your child and they're already beating themselves up mentally, why would you want to add to that burden? I think it's best that we find a way to say, hey, I understand how hard you're working. Keep it up. You know, maybe you had a tough day, but it will turn. It just always does. When you put in the work, you usually get the results that you're looking for.
And, you know, it's up to us who are, you know, sort of in charge of that, is creating a safe space and creating a safe environment for, you know, kids to reach their full potential.
Safe sport. Play to your potential. For more on our safe sport policies, go to albertagolf.org.
So, wow, some great voices there, some great insights. I took a lot of that for sure, and we hope you did as well. Wouldn't you say, Phil, that really hammers home how far the safe sport movement has come in the past couple of decades?
Absolutely. Look at all of these people from, you know, around the province and across the country who recognize how important it is, and yeah, we're really thrilled that this has come together to ensure that all of our players can enjoy a great time on the golf course this summer.
That's right. If you're coming to our events, you will feel welcome for everyone. It'll be safe. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Encourage your fellow competitors. Have fun. And of course, play to your potential.